About 2,450 days ago is when we officially bought our farmhouse, and oh man, what an eventful 7 years it has been. I documented about 50.3% of our farming journey, but in this video I'm going to show you just about every major detail that happened during those 7 years. Be sure to subscribe and comment that you did for a chance to feature at the end of the next video, and let's get into it, everyone. This year is the most uneventful, but I'll explain everything that happened this year. Now, saying it was uneventful is kind of an overstatement, because really, the biggest part of this video unfolded on the 22nd of September. It was on that day that we officially bought the farmhouse. Now, I don't remember the exact cost of the house, but I think it was somewhere around $225,000 if I'm not mistaken. Keep in mind, nowadays, it would be a bit closer to $300,000 if it was still in that condition. During this year, we began working on some small quality of life changes to the house, like fixing a massive hole in the basement. But that was really it. Now, this is the most packed year out of them all so far. First of all, we had to constantly go to the house to plow snow because, if you do not remember, the winter of 2017 to 18 was really the last real winter in New England. But once the sun came out and the birds began chirping again, we began cleaning out the place. There was an old wood stove in the basement which had a ton of spiders in it as well. And if you have arachnophobia, then you might be scared for what I'm about to say, but my current bedroom and office, there was a spider with about 4-inch long legs. Like, bro, what are the previous owners putting in the bugs? And plus, it was about maybe 18 inches from where I'm currently sitting right now. But don't worry, because it was May of that year, and we vacuumed all the spiders from every corner of the house. Going into the summer of 2018, we removed any last pieces of furniture that the old owners may have left behind. After all that was done, we began splitting up the work between us. Half of us would work on getting the front yard ready for bees, as later in the month we get some bees, and of course prepping the yard for daily use, while the other half would begin painting the walls. All the walls inside needed to be painted before we could move in, so we went down to the Home Depot in Torrington and we selected all the wall colors that we wanted. And by early August, we had officially finished the first floor. Now all we needed to do was move in. The date we selected was August 24th, 2018, so during the 3 weeks we had left, we began prepping everything for moving. Once the day came, we loaded all the items into a trailer, twisted the keys to the ignition, and we were on the road. The commute was a bit over an hour, I'd say. We spent about a day getting everything set up, and we spent another few days getting comfortable. Then we went to our local Walmart and bought some essentials. A few days later, we moved in, and for the rest of 2018, we had some small projects done up in the field. And it was only then that I realized how much land we had. I explored all the fields, and after a while, we mowed them all down. Now, this is the year we began making some small progress on some small projects. For starters, we began some plans for how the farm is going to operate in the near future. Then, we began some plans for what we were going to build on the farm. First and foremost, there was a small 3x3 shed in the backyard that needed to be torn down, mainly because it had a groundhog hole in it. It came down in less than 5 minutes. In the fall, we began laying out some cinder blocks for a small 10x12 shed out in the lower field. And then we began working on it. By November, all that needed to be done was the roof. However, we got caught up in many different projects, so ultimately we ended up stopping the construction on the shed, and it still hasn't continued since, sadly. As we all know, 2020 was quite the interesting year to have lived through. We began by making plans to get chickens in March, and I personally think that was a good decision to have gotten chickens. We got chickens on Friday, March 20th, 2020, which marked a week after the world went into lockdown. We had also began construction on a chicken coop for them, and I oddly remember that one day we were working on the chicken coop in May, and it was 38 degrees and very windy, and there was still over 2 inches of snow on the ground. Yet April and May were quite interesting months, to say the least. We finished construction on Friday, May 15th. They officially moved outside, and that was when everything began to unfold. We planted a garden in March, and then we transplanted the plants into an in-ground garden in early June of that year. This garden required tons of innovation, and we had to make an irrigation system out of PVC pipes, which, if you don't know, are not made for gardening. However, everything was going smooth until the fateful day of August 4th, 2020. And that was because on that day we were getting hit by a tropical storm with winds as high as 70 miles per hour. And when that happened, we lost power for 9 days, and we got a whopping 1/4 inch of rain. Oh well, the power outage was just character development. After that was done, we decided that we were going to get some ducks, which we did on August 15th, 2020. We raised them inside until October, when we built them a small yet sustainable duck coop. The chickens also laid their first eggs that month as well. We also began construction on a workshop that was about 950 square feet. And it's that red barn that you'll sometimes see in the background of my videos. They poured the foundation in September. However, construction would not continue until 2021. However, at the end of 2020, we decided that we needed more chickens, and the neighbors who loved our eggs also agreed, and we began making plans for more chickens. With the fever dream that was 2020 now being over, we began out the year by having some chickens shipped out to us at the end of January. They were only about half the chickens shipped out to us though, because in February we got the other 2/5 shipped out. In March we would complete our set of 40 chickens by buying 10 Buff Orpington chickens from the same hatchery we got our original chickens from. Also in March they came up and finished building the barn. Now with a massive barn, we now had a great place to put the chickens. So we put the chickens in the right corner of the barn. And while they were out there, we moved out 3 chickens. Sprinkles, Grey Cloud, and sadly Falcon out to the pet flock. We were completely oblivious to the fact that Falcon was a rooster who would cause nothing but issues for the pet flock, as we'll see in 2022 and 2023. We'll get to that soon. I also find that funny that how we moved out the farm flock to their new coop, and the day we moved them out, they laid us an egg. Literally the very next day. We transplanted the garden outside, except it was not small this time. We had an irrigation system to help us out as well. I'd say that after August of that year, 2021 stopped being interesting, because nothing really happened after that, I'd say. "2022 was a whole lot better in my opinion. First of all, 2022 was the year where things began to return back to normal, and starting off strong in March, there was an incident where my rooster Falcon had injured Sprinkles. And if you think that it would have had a happy ending, sadly it didn't, because on May 29th, 2022, Sprinkles would sadly succumb to her injuries and passed away. After that, whenever I brought up common issues with my roosters in my videos, I would oftentimes bring up Falcon as a main punching bag, mainly because what he did was wrong with most roosters. That summer, we tried our hands at hatching out some chickens, which to our surprise actually worked out decently. Out of the 10 eggs under the chickens, 7 of them would end up hatching out. 5 of them would survive, so 70% hatching rate and a 71 survival rate isn't terrible. Out of the 5 chickens, 4 of them are still alive to this day. In November, a fox tried its hands at killing my duck. What the duck? However, it failed, and she ultimately survived, but barely survived, I'd say, so it was quite sad, I must say. Now, 2023 was a whole lot less active than 2022. However, it had its ups and downs. By the end of January, we were down to our last duck. And after that, things can only go up, right? Nope, because on April 9th, a fox came in and killed Chicken Burger, one of my personal favorite chickens. And to make matters worse, we lost 70% of our chickens in one day in July, all because a coyote came down and killed them. After that, coyotes were basically put on a hit list, and sadly, we never found them. And after that, nothing really happened. However, the interesting case of disappearing chicken eggs would end up being found, solved, and then would be kind of forgotten about and then solved again recently. Now, the year is not over yet, but so far we made some progress remodeling the upstairs on our house, and so far we began taking out some floorboards. The goal is for me to be in my new studio sometime around Thanksgiving, but other than that, nothing really big has happened this year. Other than, of course, the other night when the raccoon tried to kill my chickens, and I was able to step in on time and was able to get it away. And sadly, he has since came back and chewed away at our trash can, which I am not too pleased about. So if the raccoon is watching this video, respectfully, get off my property right now. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, the number of the day is 92, so comment that in your comment if you made it this far. And if you want to see more about chickens, click the video on the side of the screen, which talks about how many chickens you should buy and answers many other questions as well. Or if you want to see more like this, be sure to click the playlist on the other side of the screen. And you'll see over 40 videos similar to this one. Anyways, I'm out, everybody. See you in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe so we can reach 4K by July, of course, which probably won't happen, but I don't care.